Chosen one, you are here by divine appointment. Heaven has interrupted your steps, your scroll, and even your thoughts to bring you into this exact moment. You did not stumble onto this message by chance. The Spirit of the living God has aligned your path with prophetic precision, because what God does tonight will unleash angelic protection over you in ways you have never seen before. Chosen one, you are standing at the very edge of a supernatural financial breakthrough, a divine wealth transfer that has been building in the unseen for years. The battles you endured, the storms that tried to swallow you, the delays that stretched your faith, none of it was wasted. Heaven has been preparing you for this hour. Anointed one, the Word declares in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3, that the vision is for an appointed time, and though it tarries, it will surely come. Tonight is that appointed time. You can feel it. The air is charged, the atmosphere shifting, the spiritual realm drawing close. God is releasing orders, activating angels, and opening ancient doors on your behalf. This is a holy moment, a sacred activation. Still your spirit, open your heart, and prepare yourself. Heaven is moving toward you. Chosen one. As you sit here in this moment, something in your spirit already knows that tonight is not ordinary. There is a weight in the atmosphere, a holy density that settles over those who are being repositioned by heaven. I can feel it, even as I speak to you, because I've lived through nights like this myself. Nights where the unseen world grows louder than the natural. Nights where battles intensify, not because you are failing, but because you are crossing into an anointed threshold. And tonight, chosen one, heaven is making movements in your favor that will mark your life forever. Divine guardians are taking their posts around you. I don't say that poetically, I say it prophetically. When warfare rises without reason, when certain people pull away suddenly, when anxiety appears at the edge of your thoughts, it is often a sign that breakthrough is close. I've walked through seasons where the tension in my spirit felt unbearable, only to realize later that heaven was already arranging my deliverance. And that same pattern is unfolding for you right now. The atmosphere is aligning with your destiny. Chosen one. You've wondered why the fire has been hotter, why the nights felt longer, why the pressure intensified. It is because you are nearing the point of supernatural reversal. What the enemy sensed coming toward you terrified him. He knew what heaven was about to release long before you did. And tonight, heaven's first act in that release is protection. I've seen God do this in my own journey. Right before elevation comes insulation. Right before provision comes protection. Right before breakthrough comes boundary. Heaven begins sealing the vulnerabilities the enemy used to exploit. The same is happening to you now. You will no longer fight uncovered. You will no longer walk unguarded. The days of feeling spiritually exposed end tonight. Every pain you lived through became a signal to heaven. Every loss became instruction. I remember seasons where I cried out to God because nothing seemed to make sense. Yet later I learned those very moments became blueprints for deliverance. And chosen one, heaven has done the same with your life. The attacks that tried to crush you have been turned into coordinates for your victory. The weapons formed against you are being reversed into instruments of divine justice. What was meant to destroy you will become the story that carries your testimony. I've seen God do this, turn betrayal into promotion, turn rejection into redirection, turn heartbreak into anointing. And when dawn breaks over your life, those who expected your collapse will find only light where there used to be wounds. Chosen one, tonight is the beginning of your vindication. There is a holy quiet forming around your spirit now. I've felt that quiet before, right before God shifted everything in my life. It is the stillness that comes when heaven moves ahead of you. Angels are not comforting ideas. They are covenant enforcers. When God assigns them, He is declaring, "This one belongs to me, and you chosen. One belong entirely to Him." Feel that stillness around you. That is not emptiness, it is occupation. The divine has entered your space. Every whisper of darkness that tried to invade your peace is being drowned out by the march of angelic order. You are not forgotten. You are fortified. The darkness that once intimidated you now trembles because heaven has drawn a line it cannot cross. Tonight, every corner of your life is being sealed: your home, your family, your mind, your calling, your dreams. I've experienced that sealing before, and it changes everything. What used to breach your spirit begins to bounce off the invisible wall of divine defense. Sleepless nights end. Anxiety weakens. Peace becomes a priority in heaven's agenda for your life. Chosen one, you have carried burdens no one else saw. You've interceded for others while bleeding silently yourself, but heaven recorded every moment. And tonight, that hidden endurance becomes the reason God covers you with a royal escort of angels. Chosen one. As this night deepens, something in the unseen is shifting with deliberate intention. You may not fully grasp it yet, but heaven has already stepped between you and the strategies that once haunted your steps. I've lived through moments like this, moments where I could feel something breaking even before I knew what was being broken. And that same holy movement is circling your life right now. Every attack that rose against you in recent months was not just spiritual noise, it was a reaction. Darkness felt threatened because heaven was preparing to elevate you. And now, chosen one, the threats that once cornered you are losing their power. The air around your spirit feels different for a reason. God has begun sealing every opening the enemy once used to disrupt your peace. This is why the pressure has felt unnatural. This is why confusion tried to settle at your doorstep. This is why old wounds resurfaced out of nowhere. The enemy was scrambling because he knew what you did not. This was the night heaven would fortify you, the night where angelic protection becomes not just a promise, but an active reality. Chosen one. Every hidden prayer you whispered, those prayers no one heard, except God, have risen like incense into the courts of heaven. You may have felt unseen, but heaven saw. You may have felt unheard, but every word was recorded. You may have felt vulnerable, but heaven never once left you exposed. And now the God who guarded Daniel among lions assigns angels to surround you with the same authority. No curse can cling to you, no envy can linger, no plot can progress. I've watched God intercept things in my own life that should have destroyed me, and later I understood heaven sees dangers long before we do. You are walking under that same protection now. Anything that tries to reach you must pass through divine fire first, and nothing unholy survives that fire. You don't need to strive, chosen one. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to fight battles you were never meant to fight. God is inviting you into stillness, not weakness, a stillness where the Lord fights for you and you simply remain under His covering. This is the holy hush before divine release. Right now, storms inside you are bowing to the authority of peace. You may feel something loosening inside, an old fear, lifting a tightness in your chest, dissolving a quiet strength, rising. That is the evidence of angelic order filling the spaces where chaos once tried to reign. Tonight, heaven is making your peace a priority. Chosen one. You've lived through battles others never knew about. You've carried burdens that would have crushed a weaker spirit. You've survived seasons that tried to silence your purpose, but God saw it all. And because He saw, He rewards your endurance with covering, not cheap comfort, divine protection. Heaven does not send angels casually. They are assigned with purpose. They move with precision. They guard what heaven values, and heaven values you. There is a glow around your spirit tonight, whether you feel it or not. I have experienced this glow before. It feels like calm on the outside and fire on the inside. Like something is watching over you that you cannot see, and yet you know you are not alone. That is the presence of angels positioning themselves around your life. Every plot that rose against you is collapsing. Every voice that spoke against you is being silenced. Every unseen danger is being intercepted. You are more protected than you realize. You are more covered than you feel. Heaven is not just defending you, it is restructuring the battlefield entirely. Your home is being covered. Your name is being covered. Your future is being covered. Even your dreams, those sacred visions that keep returning, are being guarded by the divine. I've learned something over the years, chosen one. When God protects you this intensely, it's because He is preparing to promote you. Tonight marks the beginning of that shift. You are not simply surviving, you are being set apart for divine advancement. The winds have changed direction. The spiritual traffic around your destiny has increased. Heaven is moving with purpose. Chosen one, breathe. This is the hour heaven surrounds you. Chosen one. As this sacred night unfolds, something deep within you is awakening. It's a sensation you can't fully explain, a quiet awareness rising, a spiritual stirring that feels like both warning and invitation. This is not imagination. This is discernment being sharpened by heaven. When God wraps someone in angelic protection, He also heightens their spiritual senses so they can recognize what once slipped past them unnoticed. And tonight, that sharpening is happening to you. Lately, you may have sensed tension around certain people or felt an unexplainable discomfort in places you once tolerated. You may have noticed your spirit growing restless in environments that no longer match your calling. This is not emotional confusion, it is spiritual clarity. Heaven is removing the fog from your vision, and you are beginning to see with new eyes. I remember seasons where I walked blindly into situations because I trusted too quickly or loved too deeply. But the moment heaven elevated my calling, my discernment shifted. I felt warnings before words were spoken. I sensed intentions before actions happened. And chosen one, the same transformation is being released over you right now. You are no longer walking unaware. Heaven is revealing what darkness tried to hide. The enemy has whispered lies into your spirit for too long. Lies about your worth, about your future, about your identity. Yet tonight, those lies are losing their authority. You feel it already, the tension, loosening the heaviness, lifting the atmosphere, shifting. That shift is heaven reclaiming territory in your mind. And if you've felt the pressure increase recently, it's because the enemy sensed this moment before you did. Whenever God prepares to elevate a chosen one, the enemy tries to distort their perspective, hoping confusion will make them retreat. But not you. Not tonight. The very pressure that tried to break you is becoming proof that heaven is lifting you into a new dimension, chosen one. Heaven has been protecting you in ways you did not understand. Situations that didn't work out, people who suddenly distanced themselves, opportunities that closed. Without explanation, these were not losses. They were interceptions. God was shielding you from paths that would have drained your destiny. I've lived through moments where closed doors felt cruel, yet later I realized they saved me. And if you look back closely, you will see the same pattern: disappointments that protected you, delays that redirected you, endings that elevated you. Heaven never wasted a single moment. Tonight, God shifts from silent protection to visible intervention. What once approached you unnoticed will now reveal itself before it gets close. What once confused you will become clear. What once drained your spirit will expose its true intention quickly. This is the evidence of divine covering. Your discernment becomes your shield. You will begin to feel when something is off, even without proof. You will sense danger before it manifests. You will recognize deception before it speaks. This is not fear. This is foresight. And it is a sign that heaven trusts you with higher assignments. Chosen one. There is a glow around your life tonight, a quiet radiance that even you may not feel yet. The unseen realm recognizes it instantly. The glow is a mark of protection, but it is also a sign of promotion. Heaven is preparing to advance you into a season where what once intimidated you will submit to you. And because of that, every corner of your life is being reordered. Relationships, responsibilities, dreams and desires, everything is being aligned under heaven's hand. You may feel yourself detaching from things that once felt comfortable. You may feel yourself outgrowing conversations, environments, and even versions of yourself. That is not resistance. That is refinement. Tonight is the beginning of your spiritual recalibration. The old chapter is closing not with noise, but with knowing. And what comes next will require a clearer mind, a guarded spirit, and a stronger awareness. Heaven is preparing you for that elevation now. Chosen one. As this awakening continues to settle over your spirit, heaven is beginning to rearrange things inside you that you didn't even realize were out of alignment. This is the kind of inner shift that happens only when someone steps into divine protection and supernatural preparation. You may not see the full picture yet, but something in your soul already knows you are not who you were even a few hours ago. The atmosphere around your destiny is changing too quickly for you to remain the same. There is a recalibration happening in the quiet corners of your heart. Thoughts that once overwhelmed you suddenly feel lighter. Fears that once clung to you now slip away with less effort. Desires that once distracted you are losing their pull. This is what it feels like when heaven begins to purify the inner landscape of a chosen one. I've walked through moments like this, times when I didn't even pray for transformation, yet God began transforming me anyway. Times when clarity came without warning, times when peace arrived even though nothing around me had changed. And looking back, I finally understood. Heaven was preparing me for something bigger than I was ready to ask for. Chosen one, that same preparation is unfolding within you now. You may feel a strange mixture of calm and urgency in your spirit. Part of you feels grounded, secure, fully covered by God's protection. Yet another part of you senses that something is coming, something significant, something holy, something that will reshape the way you move through the world. That tension isn't confusion, it's transition. Heaven is shifting you from defense to destiny. Chosen one. The reason the enemy fought you so hard is because he knew this shift was on the horizon. He could sense the elevation before you could. He could see the glow forming around your future before you recognized it. When darkness sees a chosen one stepping into divine timing, it always launches its strongest attacks, not because you're weak, but because you're close. But tonight, the closeness is becoming clarity. The very things that tried to intimidate you are becoming irrelevant. The battles that once drained you now feel beneath you. The patterns that once pulled you backward no longer have a voice strong enough to sway you. Heaven is lifting your spiritual altitude, and with elevation comes perspective. You're beginning to see what once confused you. You're beginning to understand what once frustrated you. You're realizing why certain people could not stay, why certain plans never formed, why certain seasons ended abruptly. Nothing was accidental. Everything was orchestration. And now God is bringing your spirit into alignment with your assignment. Chosen one. Heaven is not only protecting you, it is preparing you. Something is rising inside you that feels like purpose waking up from a long sleep. Ideas you forgot you carried are returning. Dreams that once faded are stirring again. Strength you thought was gone is resurfacing with new force. This is what happens when angelic protection surrounds a life. It doesn't just guard you, it activates you. There will be moments in the coming days when you feel a sudden burst of confidence, as if something beyond you is pushing you forward. There will be moments when you feel guided in ways you can't explain, small nudges, quiet instructions, gentle redirections. Heaven is no longer just shielding your steps, it is guiding them. And if you've felt emotionally sensitive lately, if small things touched you deeply, or certain memories resurfaced unexpectedly, it's because God is healing places within you that elevation cannot carry wounds into. You are being prepared for promotion, and promotion requires purity. Not perfection, but alignment. Chosen one. Your spirit is being tuned like an instrument. Heaven is removing dissonance so your life can resonate with clarity. The distractions are fading, the background noise is quieting, the old voices are losing influence. You are stepping into a season where the voice of God becomes clearer, the prompting of the Spirit becomes stronger, and the protection around you becomes undeniable. The shift is not coming. It is happening. Chosen one. As heaven continues aligning the inner chambers of your spirit, there is another movement unfolding, one that reaches beyond your emotions and into the architecture of your destiny. You may not feel it with your hands, but your spirit is already touching it. This is the season when God begins shifting external realities to match your internal transformation. Everything within you that He recalibrated is now being reflected in the world around you. You might notice it already. Old environments feel too small, conversations feel too shallow, and certain routines no longer fit who you are becoming. This discomfort is not a sign of failure. It is the evidence that heaven is expanding your spiritual capacity. When God prepares someone for divine protection and supernatural promotion, He makes sure the world they step into can hold the weight of their calling. I've lived through seasons where I didn't understand why things started falling apart right when my faith was growing. Why friendships shifted, why certain doors closed, even though I felt spiritually strong. Later, I understood God was rearranging my external world to match who I was becoming internally. And chosen one, the same holy rearrangement is unfolding in your life. There are places you can't return to because they no longer resonate with the sound of your spirit. There are people you can't walk with because their presence pulls you away from the alignment heaven is building around you. There are patterns you can't repeat because they disrupt the divine order God is establishing in your atmosphere. This is not loss. This is refinement. And heaven never refines without purpose. Chosen one. What is happening around you right now is the preparation for divine protection to turn into divine positioning. God is not only shielding you from what was, He is guiding you toward what is coming. The things that once drained you are being removed. The things that once distracted you are fading. The things that once delayed you are being dismantled. You may feel like you're standing between two worlds, the one you're leaving behind and the one you're stepping into. That in-between space feels unfamiliar, even uncomfortable, but it is sacred. It is the bridge where heaven transitions you from old identity to new authority. In this place of transition, God begins exposing what cannot follow you forward. You may suddenly see truths that were hidden, motives you ignored, patterns you tolerated. Heaven is allowing you to see with prophetic clarity so that your next season is not sabotaged by what your last season sheltered. Your discernment is becoming your compass. Heaven is heightening your sensitivity so you can feel when an environment is wrong before the danger forms sense, when a conversation is unhealthy before the damage begins, or recognize when a person is out of alignment before the connection derails your peace. This is divine intelligence, the kind that only rests on those who are stepping into supernatural assignment. Chosen one, as protection intensifies, so does purpose. That's why you feel an inner stirring that refuses to quiet down. It's not anxiety, it's activation. The Spirit is awakening parts of you that have been dormant for years. Old dreams are resurfacing, long-buried ideas are returning, gifts you discounted are reawakening. This is not nostalgia. This is divine timing. Heaven is reminding you of the things God placed in you before the world tried to dim your light. And you must understand this deeply. When God chooses to protect someone with angelic covering, it is always because they are stepping into a season that carries spiritual and generational impact. You may think your journey is ordinary, but heaven does not move like this for the ordinary. Heaven moves like this for those carrying assignments that shake darkness quietly and shift atmospheres without permission. You are one of those souls, and because of that, the season ahead will require a version of you that is healed, aware, aligned, and unshakably protected. God is not preparing you to survive. He is preparing you to influence, to speak with authority, to walk with clarity, to carry light in places that have forgotten what light feels like. Chosen one. Everything in your life is being rearranged for your rise. The shift inside you is becoming the shift around you. The protection above you is becoming the direction before you. Chosen one. As this divine transition continues unfolding around you, there is something deeper happening, something many never recognize until much later. Heaven is not only shifting your surroundings, it is shifting the spiritual atmosphere assigned to your future. You may not fully see it yet, but the road ahead of you is being cleared with precision. Obstacles that once stood immovable are beginning to crumble. Invisible resistance that once pushed against you is weakening. Heaven is preparing a straight path for your next season. You may feel this as an inner pull, a subtle urgency pushing you to move differently, think differently, even breathe differently. That's because heaven is adjusting the rhythm of your spirit. Your internal pace no longer matches the world you're leaving behind. God is synchronizing you with divine timing. Every decision, every prompting, every pause carries purpose now. I've lived through moments like this, moments when I realized I wasn't simply changing, I was being prepared. Times when I didn't fit in places that once felt familiar. Times when God began softening my heart in one area and strengthening it in another. Those shifts were not random. They were signs that heaven was moving me towards something I didn't yet understand. And chosen one, that same shift is guiding your steps tonight. There is a purpose rising within you, one that refuses to stay silent. Even when your mind tries to be practical, your spirit feels the pull of something supernatural. A calling, a mission, a weight that feels both heavy and holy. And the closer you get to this calling, the more heaven tightens its protection around your life. Chosen one, notice how certain people no longer have access to your heart the way they once did. Notice how certain environments drain you quickly. Notice how conversations that once entertained you now feel empty. This is not moodiness or withdrawal. This is elevation. When heaven calls someone higher, everything that operates on a lower frequency becomes uncomfortable. Your spirit is rejecting what once distracted it. And with this rejection comes revelation. Suddenly, you begin seeing people's intentions more clearly. You begin noticing the spiritual atmosphere behind their words. You notice when someone carries peace and when someone carries confusion. This is heaven refining your discernment, not to make you suspicious, but to make you wise, because in the season you are entering, wisdom will be your shield. Chosen one. Heaven is also restructuring your emotional landscape. You may feel yourself releasing things you once clung to, old versions of yourself, past expectations, stories you outgrew, and burdens you were never meant to carry. This release may feel uncomfortable, even painful at times, but it is necessary. There are parts of you that cannot cross into your next chapter. Not because they are bad, but because they are too small for who you are becoming. The wounds you once hid are being healed. The fears you once ignored are being addressed. The insecurities you once carried quietly are being dissolved. Heaven is not asking you to pretend to be strong. Heaven is making you strong. In this holy reconstruction, God is also restoring your spiritual authority. The authority you lost in seasons of hurt, the confidence that slipped from your hands when life felt overwhelming, the courage you forgot you had. Heaven is placing those things back into your spirit, not as memories, but as weapons. You will begin speaking differently, thinking differently, walking differently, not because you're forcing change, but because heaven is rewriting your identity in real time. Chosen one, do not ignore the stirring you feel inside. That restlessness is not a problem, it is preparation. Heaven is expanding your influence, increasing your inner capacity, and strengthening every area that will hold the weight of your calling. And because of this, angelic protection is not just surrounding you, it is escorting you, guiding your steps, guarding your mind, fortifying your atmosphere. The days ahead will not look like the days behind you. You are entering a new realm of clarity, confidence, and covenant. Heaven is positioning you for opportunities that require the version of you God is shaping right now. Chosen one, breathe deeply. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right on schedule with heaven's timing, and the movement you feel within is the confirmation. Chosen one, as the shift within you deepens, heaven begins unveiling another layer of this divine transformation, one that does not merely strengthen you, but redefines how you move through every space you enter. You are stepping into a season where you will no longer blend into the background of your own life. The same protection God places around you is becoming the very force that elevates you. You are being positioned not passively, but intentionally. There is a reason you feel different, lighter in some moments, heavier in others. The heaviness isn't burden, it's authority settling into its rightful place. The lightness isn't escape, it's clarity freeing you from what was never yours to carry. These are signs that heaven is preparing you to influence environments, not be shaped by them. Chosen one, when God sets a hedge of angels around someone, it is always for a purpose beyond survival. Protection is not the end, it is the preparation. And right now, heaven is preparing you to be a carrier of spiritual weight in places that desperately need the light you carry. You may notice people responding to you differently. Some will feel drawn to you without fully understanding why. Others may feel uncomfortable, even intimidated, because your presence exposes the truth they've been trying to avoid. This is the effect of spiritual elevation. When God raises your frequency, everything around you responds. I've walked through moments where I didn't understand why rooms felt different when I entered, why conversations shifted tone, or why some individuals suddenly kept their distance. But later, I realized heaven had marked me, and the unseen realm recognized it before I did. Chosen one, that same mark is upon you. The spiritual world knows who you are becoming. This season will reveal how covered you truly are. Opportunities that seemed impossible will feel as if they are reaching toward you. Relationships that were unhealthy will fall away without confrontation. Environments that once drained you will lose their grip. This is heaven's hand, gently repositioning your life, ensuring that every step you take is aligned with divine purpose. Chosen one, do not be surprised if certain doors close quickly. Closed doors in this season are protection, not rejection. Heaven is curating your path with precision. God is removing noise so you can hear direction. He is eliminating distractions so you can hold revelation. He is quieting the old so the new can speak. And the new is speaking. There is a quiet instruction rising inside you, nudges, impulses, gentle promptings that guide your decisions. Listen closely. Heaven rarely shouts, it whispers. And in this moment, the whisper is leading you toward your next mantle. You may not know exactly where you are going yet, but you can feel that your future is calling louder than your past. I chosen one. The protection surrounding your life is not a temporary shield. It is a long-term covenant. Heaven is making an investment in you because your purpose carries weight in realms you cannot yet see. You carry influence that will ripple through people, places, and even generations. And because of that, God is not letting anything small attach itself to you. The wrong voices are being removed. The wrong paths are being blocked. The wrong timing is being dismantled. Heaven is ensuring that what reaches you is what was meant for you. You are entering a season where your steps will feel guided, your choices will feel clearer, and your spirit will feel anchored. This is not coincidence. This is calling. This is divine alignment pulling you into destiny. Chosen one, you are not just being protected. You are being prepared to walk in a level of spiritual influence that requires angelic escort. You are stepping into a life that looks nothing like the one you're leaving behind. Chosen one, as heaven steadies the ground beneath your feet, something even more profound begins to rise within the atmosphere of your life. This is the phase where divine protection evolves into divine orchestration. You are no longer simply being shielded, you're being positioned with precision. Everything around you is shifting with intentional timing, as if the unseen realm is arranging your steps like pieces on a sacred board. You may feel it already, that strange sense that life is subtly rearranging itself without your effort. Conversations appear at the right moment. Insights come without strain. People cross your path carrying answers you didn't even know you needed. This is what it feels like when heaven begins to write your next chapter in real time. Nothing is random now. Every detail is deliberate. Chosen one, you must understand something deeply. When God places a mantle of protection over someone, He is also preparing them for a move that carries consequence. Your next season is not simply about breakthrough, it is about placement. You are being placed where your presence becomes an instrument of heaven, an influence that shifts spiritual climates just by showing up. And because of that, heaven is clearing your path with unusual force. Situations that once blocked you will suddenly collapse. Dead ends will dissolve. Areas of your life that felt stagnant will begin to stir. Even the relationships that felt complicated may suddenly make sense, either through restoration or release. Heaven is settling accounts on your behalf. I've lived through seasons where I didn't understand why everything felt like it was happening at once. The closing of some doors, the opening of others, the sudden clarity, the unexpected courage. Later, I learned that heaven often accelerates movement when a chosen one is ready to step into alignment. That acceleration felt chaotic, but it was choreography. And the same choreography is being written over your life now. Chosen one. This is also the season where God protects you from what you prayed for too soon. Some plans you thought you were ready for will be delayed not because you're unworthy, but because heaven is synchronizing your arrival with divine timing. God is not interested in rushed blessings. He is interested in lasting destiny. You may feel a holy impatience inside you, an urge to move, act, build, speak, or step out. At the same time, you may feel an unusual restraint, a quiet voice whispering, "Not yet." This tension is not indecision, it is alignment. Heaven is positioning both you and the environment you are meant to impact. Chosen one. Heaven never sends someone into a room that is not ready for their presence. Your spirit is maturing, your discernment is sharpening, your authority is strengthening, and the path ahead is being prepared with the same precision that protected you through the battles behind you. Even now there are people speaking your name in rooms you've never entered, opportunities forming in places your feet have not yet stepped, alignments being built with individuals who carry pieces of your assignment. Heaven is planning your introduction before you arrive. This level of orchestration is reserved for those who carry destiny, not just desire. And you, chosen one, carry destiny. This is why distractions are being removed before they derail you. Why certain conversations suddenly feel empty. Why temptations that once enticed you no longer touch your spirit. Heaven is purifying your focus because your next step requires clarity, not confusion. Chosen one, as the divine continues sealing your life, you will notice a new awareness rising inside you. You will feel when something is for you without needing confirmation. You will sense when a direction is wrong before you take a single step. You will recognize the presence of God more quickly and the absence of His peace more easily. This is spiritual maturity, the kind heaven imparts when a person is being shaped for influence. There will also be moments where you feel a sudden boldness, a courage that seems too big for the situation. That boldness is not your own. It is heaven speaking through you. It is the mark of someone who no longer moves by fear, but by divine mandate. Chosen one, your path is no longer unfolding by chance. You are walking under orchestration. You are being ushered into divine placement. And heaven is ensuring that nothing, absolutely nothing, interferes with what comes next. Chosen one, as heaven continues orchestrating the path ahead of you, there is another movement happening underneath the surface of your life, one so subtle, yet so powerful that only those who walk closely with God ever recognize it. You are stepping into the realm where divine protection becomes divine unveiling. Heaven is beginning to show you what has been hidden, not to frighten you, but to empower you. You may already sense it. The atmosphere around you feels different, as though layers once blurred by confusion are now becoming transparent. Motives that used to deceive you are showing their true colors. People who wore masks are revealing their real intentions. Opportunities that looked promising but carried spiritual danger are exposing their cracks. This is not coincidence. This is clarity, heaven's gift to the protected. Chosen one, when God decides to elevate someone, he first exposes everything that cannot follow them. This revelation is not punishment. It is protection. You are seeing more clearly because you must walk more boldly. And boldness requires truth, unfiltered truth, spiritual truth, truth that frees you from attachments that once dimmed your light. There is a quiet wisdom forming inside you, the kind that doesn't just react to the natural world, but reads the spiritual currents behind it. You will begin noticing when someone's words don't match their spirit. You will sense the heaviness behind a smile. You will feel the shift when a conversation carries hidden agenda. This awareness is not meant to make you suspicious. It is meant to make you unshakable. I've walked through this stage myself, the phase where God reveals what was always there, but never seen. At first, it felt overwhelming. Then I realized it was mercy. Heaven was showing me where the traps were before I stepped into them. Heaven was highlighting the cracks before I walked across the bridge. That same mercy is now guiding you, chosen one. Do not be surprised if certain connections suddenly weaken. Some people will drift, not because they are evil, but because their season in your story is complete. Others will fall away because their presence was built on assignment, not alignment. And when an assignment ends, God removes access. This is preservation, not loss. And there will be moments, quiet, subtle moments, when you feel the Spirit nudging you away from environments you used to tolerate. Don't ignore those nudges. That sensitivity is evidence that heaven is guiding your movements more carefully now. You are being led, not left, directed, not abandoned, chosen. One another sign of this divine unveiling is the stirring within your purpose. Ideas you once dismissed are resurfacing with new strength. Dreams that felt impossible now feel like instructions. Doors that once intimidated you now feel like invitations. This shift is not coming from your ambition. It is coming from your spirit. Heaven is awakening what has been dormant. There will also be moments when you sense that something around you is off, even if nothing is visibly wrong. Trust that feeling. It is the spiritual version of seeing smoke before seeing fire. Heaven allows you to sense danger before it forms, so you can redirect your steps without falling into unnecessary battles. Chosen one. You are entering a realm where peace becomes your compass. If something disrupts your peace, it is not for you. If something drains your spirit, it is not aligned with you. If something confuses your discernment, it is not heaven sent. Peace is not passive, it is prophetic. And your peace is becoming louder than your fear. This unveiling will shape you in ways you cannot imagine. It will protect you from wrong paths. It will shield you from hidden harm. It will elevate your sensitivity to the voice of God. You are learning to walk with heaven, not just hope for heaven. You are learning to move with purpose, not simply react to life. Chosen one. This is the stage where you cannot be misled, manipulated, or mistaken. Heaven is making you spiritually untouchable. Chosen one. As this unveiling continues, heaven begins initiating another profound shift, one that doesn't just protect your steps, but transforms the very way your steps influence the world around you. You have been moving through a season of revelation, clarity, and spiritual sharpening, but now you enter the realm of divine realignment. This is where heaven begins stitching together every loose thread in your life with purpose, turning what once felt scattered into a coherent destiny. You may feel it already, a sense that puzzle pieces are clicking together, even if you don't yet see the full image. Things that once felt unrelated now connect. Lessons from years ago suddenly make sense. People who appeared in your life unexpectedly now reveal their purpose. Even the pain you endured begins to feel like preparation rather than punishment. Chosen one. Heaven wastes nothing. Every season you walked through, whether joyful or heavy, carried ingredients for the calling you are now stepping into. And you are stepping into it not by chance, but by divine timing. This is the moment when your story begins to align with heaven's blueprint. Part of this alignment comes through a subtle inner transformation you may have sensed recently. The way you think is changing. The way you process emotion is maturing. The old triggers don't grip you the same way. The old fears don't hold the same power. Heaven has been gently removing the emotional debris that once clouded your discernment and weighed down your purpose. This is God preparing you for spiritual elevation, not so you can simply see higher, but so you can stand stronger. And with that elevation comes clarity. You're beginning to understand why certain things didn't work out, even when you prayed for them. You're beginning to see why God closed certain doors you desperately wanted to walk through. You're realizing that the people who walked away from you didn't harm you, they freed you. Heaven wasn't taking from you, heaven was making room. This is what alignment feels like. The tension loosens, confusion fades, peace becomes louder, and suddenly you realize that the version of you who cried through the storms wouldn't have survived the season you're stepping into now. God has refined you, redefined you, and re-centered you. Chosen one. This realignment isn't just emotional, it's spiritual. Heaven is repositioning your authority. You are beginning to walk with a confidence that surprises even you. Not arrogance, not pride, but a deep, quiet assurance that flows from being covered, chosen, and called. You may notice that the way people respond to you is shifting. Some will seek your wisdom. Some will resist your presence. Some will marvel at the peace you carry, and some will distance themselves because your spiritual clarity exposes what they aren't willing to confront. This is normal. When heaven elevates someone, everyone around them reacts, even without understanding why. Chosen one, do not shrink yourself to make others comfortable. Your elevation is not an inconvenience. It is an assignment. You are being lifted because your calling requires a higher vantage point. The battles you will fight and the victories you will carry cannot be lived on the ground level. As alignment takes root, you will also notice heaven orchestrating divine connections. People who carry the same frequency will begin appearing in your path. Individuals who share similar callings, similar wounds, similar visions will resonate with your spirit instantly. These are not accidental encounters. They are covenant connections hand-placed by God to walk with you in this next season. And just as God sends the right people, He continues removing the wrong ones. If someone exits your life in this season, do not chase them. Do not negotiate your worth for their presence. Anyone who cannot honor the version of you God is shaping cannot be trusted with the blessings God is sending. Chosen one. The realignment of your life is not merely preparation, it is activation. You are stepping into a divine sequence where every step is tied to purpose. Every decision is guided by clarity, and every movement is protected by angels. Chosen one. As this divine realignment settles into your life, heaven begins activating something even deeper within you, your spiritual authority. You may not realize it yet, but everything you have endured, everything you have survived, everything you have learned in silence has been shaping a level of authority that cannot be taught, only lived. This is the moment where protection becomes power and clarity becomes command. There is a new weight resting on your spirit, not the weight of burden, but the weight of influence. You can feel it in the way you speak now, how your words carry more life than before. You can feel it in the way you walk into a room, how the atmosphere subtly shifts without you trying. You can feel it in the way others look to you for guidance, even when you are not trying to lead. This is what heaven does when it anoints someone. Your presence becomes a mirror that reflects what God is doing through you. Chosen one. You have walked through enough storms to know what survival feels like. But now, heaven is introducing you to something higher dominion. Not domination over people, but dominion over your environment, dominion over your emotions, dominion over the spiritual atmosphere assigned to your life. This is the kind of authority that quiets storms instead of running from them, the kind that breaks cycles instead of tolerating them. The kind that speaks truth with a calmness that disarms darkness. I've seen this shift in my own journey the moment when fear lost its grip on me, not because my circumstances changed, but because my spirit grew stronger. And now I see that same shift unfolding in you. This is not confidence borrowed from a good day. This is confidence built through fire. An authority that can only come from being held, healed, protected, and refined by heaven. You may notice that your tolerance for certain behaviors or conversations has changed. Not because you're angry, but because your spirit refuses to entertain anything that contradicts your growth. This is spiritual maturity. This is alignment with purpose. And this is a sign that heaven is preparing you to carry responsibilities that require you to be both gentle and powerful at the same time. Chosen one. Heaven is also giving you a new lens through which to see your past. The moments that once wounded you are now becoming wells of wisdom. The heartbreaks that once broke you are now becoming chapters of revelation. The battles that once confused you are now becoming testimonies with purpose. Nothing you endured was meaningless. Everything shaped who you are becoming. And now the world around you will begin responding to that transformation. Opportunities you once dreamed of will start to feel reachable. Conversations you once feared will now flow naturally. Doors that once felt locked will open because your presence carries the key. This is what happens when heaven places authority on someone. They no longer wait for permission to step into purpose. Purpose recognizes them. Your spiritual awareness is also heightening. You can now hear the gentle nudges of the Spirit more clearly. You sense when to move and when to pause. You sense when to speak and when to stay silent. You sense when someone is sent by God and when someone is sent as distraction. This is discernment in full bloom, shaped by the protection and alignment heaven has surrounded you with. Chosen one, do not underestimate what God is awakening within you. You are becoming someone who carries peace into chaos, clarity into confusion, and light into places that have forgotten what light feels like. People will feel safe when they're near you, not because you're perfect, but because heaven is visible through you. And yes, with this new authority comes responsibility. You are being called to walk with intention, to choose your words carefully, to guard your atmosphere, to stay aligned with heaven's voice, even when the world tries to pull you in different directions. But this responsibility is not a burden, it is an honor. Heaven trusts you, and trust from heaven is not casual. Chosen one, you are stepping into influence, into maturity, into spiritual steadiness. The version of you that doubted yourself is fading. The version of you that carried shame is dissolving. The version of you that questioned your worth is being replaced by one who understands the weight of their divine identity. Chosen one, as heaven solidifies your spiritual authority, another layer of transformation begins to unfold, one that reaches into the deepest parts of your identity. You are entering a season where God is not only strengthening who you are, but revealing who you have always been beneath the wounds, expectations, and survival patterns life forced upon you. This is the unveiling of your true spiritual self, the version of you that heaven has recognized long before the world ever tried to define you. You may feel this inner shift already, a sense of coming home to yourself, a quiet awareness rising from within, whispering truths you once ignored because life was too loud for you to hear them. Now the noise has been silenced. Heaven has quieted the storms, protected your borders, and aligned your path so you can finally hear what your spirit has been trying to tell you for years. Chosen one. This is not a small moment. This is a return to identity. For so long you lived in survival mode, bending, shrinking, adapting, overthinking, trying to belong in places that were never designed for your spirit. But now, under divine protection, the false layers are falling away. You are beginning to remember your worth in ways that do not require validation. You are beginning to move in confidence that does not depend on applause. You are beginning to see that your value was never up for negotiation. Heaven is restoring you to yourself. This restoration comes with clarity. You will start recognizing how many of your past choices were made from fear, not faith, from woundedness, not wisdom. And instead of feeling regret, you will feel release. Because heaven is showing you that everything you walked through was shaping your spiritual foundation. Nothing was wasted. Every tear watered your insight. Every loss refined your vision. Every heartbreak pushed you toward purpose. I have lived through this revelation myself, a moment when I finally saw how much of my identity had been built in reaction to pain instead of alignment with calling. And when God stripped those layers away, I realized I was not losing myself. I was finally meeting myself. Chosen one. You are experiencing that same holy encounter. With this restored identity comes an awakening in your inner voice. The voice you once doubted now carries weight. The intuition you once dismissed now speaks with accuracy. The desires that once felt too bold now feel like instructions. This is because your spirit is no longer battling to be heard. Heaven has cleared the interference. You will notice your decisions becoming firmer. Your boundaries becoming clearer, your yes becoming more intentional, and your no becoming more courageous. This is not personality change, it is spiritual alignment. You are no longer operating from insecurity, you are moving from assignment. Chosen one, heaven is also healing the relationship you have with your own worth. You will no longer seek validation from broken places. You will no longer apologize for your strength. You will no longer dim your light to comfort those who cannot handle your glow. You are stepping into a season where honoring yourself is part of honoring God, because He created you with deliberate intention. And with this renewed identity comes renewed vision. Old dreams that faded due to exhaustion are being revived. Ideas you abandoned because you didn't feel capable are returning with greater clarity. Callings you ignored because you felt unqualified now feel unavoidable. This is heaven reminding you that your purpose never expired. It was simply waiting for the healed version of you. Chosen one, embrace this season with open spirit. You are being reintroduced to the version of yourself that God designed before life tried to rewrite you. This is identity restored. This is purpose remembered. This is destiny awakening. Chosen one, as your true identity resurfaces and heaven reintroduces you to the version of yourself that was buried beneath survival, another divine movement takes place. Your capacity begins to expand. This is not about doing more. It is about becoming more. Heaven is stretching the borders of your spirit, preparing you to carry responsibilities, blessings, and opportunities that once would have crushed you. You are being strengthened for a future that is far bigger than your past ever suggested. You may feel this expansion in quiet ways. Your patience has grown deeper. Your insight feels sharper. Your heart feels more open, yet more guarded in the right places. Even your thoughts have more space. They no longer spiral as easily, no longer cling to fear, no longer replay battles you've already won. This is what spiritual enlargement looks like. Your inner world is no longer your prison. It is becoming your sanctuary. Chosen. 1. Heaven is not simply building you up, it is making room within you for the magnitude of your calling. Everything God is preparing to place into your hands requires an expanded spirit, because blessing without capacity becomes burden, and God refuses to bless you prematurely. He is shaping you into someone who can carry abundance without breaking influence, without arrogance and responsibility, without losing yourself. This is why certain things that once overwhelmed you now feel manageable. Why situations that once triggered you now seem small. Why challenges that used to drain your energy now ignite your determination. Heaven has been strengthening your inner frame because your next season requires stability, not fragility. I've walked through this expansion before, times where I felt stretched, uncomfortable, unsure of what God was doing within me. But later, when the blessing arrived, I realized why the stretching was necessary. Had God given it to me earlier, I would not have been ready to hold it. And chosen one, the same is true for you. Heaven stretches what it plans to fill. As this expansion unfolds, you will notice a shift in what you can emotionally carry. You no longer break under pressure the way you once did. You no longer give up at the first sign of resistance. You no longer question your worth when people fail to see it. This is not pride, it is maturity. You are learning to stand without shaking, to walk without doubting, to believe without begging. And with expanded capacity comes expanded clarity. Heaven is opening your eyes to possibilities you never considered before. Ideas that once felt impossible now feel attainable. Goals that once intimidated you now feel like stepping stones. What changed you did. Your spirit is catching up to your destiny. Chosen one. Heaven is also expanding your influence. Even if you don't see it yet, you are beginning to touch lives in ways you may not recognize. The way you speak brings comfort. The way you lead brings confidence. The way you simply exist brings light. You are becoming a beacon to people who have been searching for direction, peace, or hope. Influence is not about platform, it is about presence, and your presence has been transformed. This is why your circle is changing. Some people will draw closer because your growth awakens their own. Others will distance themselves because your light disrupts their comfort. Do not resist this shift. Expansion always requires pruning. Heaven removes what cannot handle your growth so that what remains can rise with you. You may also notice a deeper hunger within you, a hunger for purpose, for alignment, for spiritual truth. You crave what nourishes your soul and reject what drains it. This hunger is divine. It is the sign that heaven is preparing to reveal the next layer of your assignment. You are not expanding randomly. You are expanding toward something, and soon that something will come into view. Chosen one. This season of enlargement is not temporary, it is foundational. Heaven is widening your inner borders so you can hold the blessings, battles, and breakthroughs assigned to your future. You are being shaped into someone who will not merely carry light, you will radiate it. Chosen one. As the expansion of your spirit continues, heaven now begins to usher you into one of the most pivotal phases of your journey, the realm of divine confirmation. This is the season where what you have sensed becomes what you will see. What you have carried in faith becomes what you will witness in reality. You are stepping into the territory where heaven begins echoing back to you the very things your spirit has been whispering. You may have already felt early signs of this, small moments where something within you felt undeniably right, even if you couldn't explain why. A conversation that aligned perfectly with what you prayed for, a message that confirmed what you sensed in silence. An opportunity that arrived at the exact moment you needed direction. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations. Heaven is speaking louder now because your steps are drawing closer to destiny, or chosen one. When God begins confirming your path, He does not do it through noise. He does it through alignment. The pieces that once felt scattered begin arranging themselves with ease. The prayers that once felt suspended in the air start returning with clarity. The desires you buried begin resurfacing with purpose. It's as though the universe itself bends to make sure you do not miss what heaven is showing you. This season will feel like divine déjà vu moments, repeating themselves to signal that you're exactly where you're meant to be. Words you hear from strangers will mirror what your spirit has been thinking. Doors that were once sealed shut will open with no explanation. People who carry significance for your journey will appear without your effort. Heaven is weaving these confirmations into your life so that doubt loses its grip completely. And you must understand this confirmation always follows transformation. The reason heaven is beginning to reaffirm your spirit now is because you have become someone who can handle what God is about to reveal. You are no longer led by insecurity. You are no longer swayed by external noise. You are anchored, aware, aligned. Heaven speaks clearly to those who have learned to listen. I have walked through moments like this, moments when everything inside me felt uncertain, until suddenly God sent confirmation after confirmation, stitching my path together, one whisper at a time. And in each one I realized that heaven never forgot about me. Chosen one, heaven has not forgotten you either. In fact, heaven has been waiting for this moment, the moment where your spirit is strong enough to recognize its own truth. In this phase, you will also notice that your spirit reacts differently to people and environments. You will feel drawn to what aligns with your purpose and repelled by what does not. This sensitivity is part of your confirmation. It is heaven's way of steering you without forcing you. Follow it. Trust it. Chosen one, you are entering a period where heaven will not allow you to miss your calling. You will know, you will feel, you will recognize every sign meant for you. The veil is lifting, the path is clearing, and confirmation is becoming your language. Chosen one, As heaven completes this cycle of confirmation over your life, you now step into one of the most sacred dimensions of your journey, the realm of manifestation. This is the season where what you believed in private begins to reveal itself in public. It is where invisible shifts become visible change, where whispered prayers become unfolding miracles, and where everything heaven has been preparing behind the scenes begins emerging into view. You may already sense the edge of this transformation. Something in the air feels charged. Something in your spirit feels ready. Something in your atmosphere feels open in a way it hasn't felt in years. This readiness isn't imagined, nor is it emotional, it is spiritual. Heaven does not prepare someone this intentionally without intending to release something significant. Chosen. One manifestation does not arrive suddenly. It reveals itself gradually like dawn climbing the horizon. First in the spirit, then in the mind, then in reality. You've already felt it in your spirit, through the stirring, the pulling, the quiet awakening that kept rising within you. You've felt it in your mind, through renewed clarity and ideas that return with strength. And now manifestation begins touching your world. This is the season where heaven starts moving things you thought were immovable, where help arrives from directions you never expected, where solutions appear without the struggle you once endured, where alignment comes easier, not because life suddenly became simple, but because heaven has taken command over your path. I've experienced this kind of shift before, moments where everything felt still for so long, then suddenly life awakened around me. Not chaotically, but purposefully. Steps aligned. Conversations opened doors, peace guided decisions. And in every moment I realized manifestation wasn't a reward, it was the next phase of obedience. Chosen one. You are standing at that same threshold. As this phase unfolds, you will notice divine acceleration. Things that once took months may take days. Things that once delayed you will now clear effortlessly. People who were indifferent will now be drawn to your light. This acceleration is not coincidence. It is confirmation that heaven's timing has matured. And with manifestation comes responsibility. Not burden, but awareness. You will begin carrying yourself differently. You will begin choosing differently. You will begin speaking with a sense of intentionality, because manifestation isn't just about receiving, it's about becoming someone who can steward what heaven releases. Your spirit is ready for this because heaven made sure to refine you first. The healing, the stretching, the clarity, the protection, none of it was random. You were being prepared, shaped, strengthened, and elevated into the version of yourself capable of carrying blessing with humility and authority at the same time. In this season, you must also expect restoration, not only of what you lost, but of what you never realized was stolen. Peace will return. Confidence will return. Joy will return. Even opportunities you once missed will return, but this time you will be ready. Chosen. One manifestation also brings divine companionship. Heaven will send people who recognize your purpose, honor your spirit, and support your calling. These individuals will feel familiar to your soul, as though your spirits have known each other long before your eyes ever met. They are not simply connections, they are destiny alignments. And perhaps most importantly, manifestation brings spiritual authority that cannot be denied. When you speak, doors will respond. When you move, provision will follow. When you step, the ground beneath you will feel prepared. This is what happens when a life becomes fully aligned with divine intention. Chosen. One heaven is not just protecting you anymore, it is partnering with you. You are stepping into a season where miracles are not rare. They are natural. Where favor is not random, it is assigned. Where breakthrough is not fought for, it is activated. You have reached a point in your journey where the unseen and the seen meet, where faith and fulfillment touch, where promise and reality align, and heaven whispers over you now, it is time, chosen one. As this message settles into your spirit, know this: what God has released over you tonight is already moving, already covering, already aligning. You are standing in your Kairos moment, the exact moment heaven chose to surround you with angelic protection and divine clarity. Walk forward with a steady heart, knowing the unseen has shifted in your favor. May peace guard your thoughts, may wisdom guide your decisions, and may every step you take be wrapped in the light of God's presence. If this word spoke to you, let it live beyond this moment. Share it so another chosen one may find the confirmation they've been waiting for, and leave a reflection in the comments that your spirit feels led to share. And if this voice feels like home, you're welcome to stay connected. Chosen one. Go in confidence. You are protected, you are aligned, and you are stepping into everything heaven has prepared for you.